Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Fishin'MagicianTV.com podcast. I'm your host, Chris Fabrizzi. So we're going to talk about today a couple different things. Fluke season just wrapped up a couple of weeks ago, and now we are transitioning into our fall seasons, which is going to take place right now. The striper run has not gone into full swing yet, but it will be really soon as that water temperature gets right. TOG will open up to 5 fish per angler sometime mid-November, and sea bass is going to be opening back up in October 8th. So what we're going to talk about today is some tactics and lures that I use for striper fishing, and later on we're going to get into a Skype call with Captain Greg Fabrizzi and figure out what he's doing down there in Marathon, Florida. Just talk about some different things. So when the fall run happens, what you're looking for is that water temperature to be in its mid-50s, and there's always residential fish around, so it's not like you can't go out there and catch a striper right now. But when you want the bigger fish to come down from the coast, you're waiting for the water temperature to drop. Now, the stuff that I use in the fall, as opposed to the spring, I don't use much bait in the fall. Things that I use, depending on where I'm fishing, what I'm doing. If I'm on a boat that's a private boat and we're going to troll and stuff like that, of course, I'm going to stick to what's proven best. Tony Mahjong spoons and a Mojo setup. It's not that complicated. You want to catch big bass, you got to go with the method that is proven to be effective. I mean, when a spoon is in the water, it gives you 3 to 6 feet swinging back and forth like this. Now what that does is it mimics a bunker in distress, and if you are a striped bass fisherman, you know that bass like the easy bait, and they're going to attack that really good. Now if you don't have the luxury of having your own boat or a friend with a boat that you're going to troll and you're going to chase trophy sized bass, and let's say you get on a head boat, 95% of head boats are going to be using the same thing in the fall, which is something like this. It's a metal jig. It's an Ava. This one in particular is an Ava 67. This is for like when the current is really blasting, you need some weight. And you got these tails which you can replace. It's like $5 for a pack of 10 or something like that in the stores. Now when the current's not so rough, you can go with an Ava 47, which is a bit smaller, not as heavy, but they both do very well. It just, again, depends on conditions. I mean, you got to play to the current, you got to play to the chop, you got to play to the wind, you got to play to everything. I do use this, not as much as I do with swim shads, but this is something that I like to use a lot, which is just a standard 6-inch, 6-ounce tsunami swim shad. I like to use white and chartreuse. One of the best ones to use a couple of years ago in 2017, for some reason this color was on fire. This is like a chartreuse mixed with yellow on just a plain jig head, nothing down, nothing crazy. All I do is I cast it out, let it sink to the bottom, and just bounce it. Retrieve and bounce. This is something that is very effective. You don't have to worry about dogfish getting a hold of it, and if a bluefish does happen to snip your tail off, you can always replace it with another shad. These go for about 75 cents. You can do what I do in the wintertime and just hit up all your local fishing flea markets, man. You can get a bag of 20 for maybe $15, if that, and that's probably on the expensive side. Depends on who you buy from, but there's always deals out there. Never forget to hit up your flea markets, because you could be missing out on some really, really good deals. Another thing that people use for stripers in the fall run, which is something I don't really like to use because I haven't had much success on it. I probably caught one schoolie on this. It's like a giant viper spoon. This one has like an epoxy coating. To me, what I don't like about this is when you're jigging it, sometimes it gets hung up on the line. And it'll feel like you got a hit. And when you're reeling it back up, it actually mimics as if you have some type of small fish on there, which can be really annoying because you're not going to catch a fish with the hook, crossed over your line like that. So that is not really something I recommend, but people do use it. It's not for me. Now, when I'm on a headboat or even on land, there is something that I really like to use. Now, these are the Tony Maja castaway jigs, where you can jig these. You can use it just like a swim shad or just like an Ava, but the presentation is what is going to get you the bite. I mean, first off, it has a 3-ounce jig head, so you'll get down there pretty good. Now, mind you, these come in different sizes, 3, 4, 5, 6 ounces. And then you got this bucktail, which is causing a crazy flutter in the water when the current is blasting. And then you have your rattletail shad on the back with its hook. Now, just like a swim shad on a jig head, if a bluefish snips you or whatever it may be that cuts your shad, you could always take it off and replace it. Now, there's plenty of different sizes you can get in these things, from 3-inch all the way up to 10, 12-inch. It's just a matter of what your preference is. Now, the Maja castaway jigs, they come in white. This white is actually a glow white, so it's a glow in the dark. You got the chartreuse, which always works good. Me, I'm not a big believer in color, to be honest with you, and especially the depth of where you're fishing, because past 40 feet of water, color is not really a big deal because it pretty much dissipates. But these are some of the things that I like to use for striped bass fishing. Stripers are extremely fun to catch. It's not like they're a crazy fighting fish. Striped bass is just a power fish. When you first hook a striper, it's going to take off. It's going to run hard. And when it's tired, it's just like reeling in a wet sock. But it is considered a good game fish. A lot of people hold them in the same realm as tarpon and stuff like that. I personally don't hold them in the same realm as a trophy fish, because maybe it's just because I grew up catching them. But a striped bass is a unique fish to catch, and it is fun. They do taste good when they're the right size. I believe that the bigger fish should be let go, because the bigger they get, the gamier they taste. I like the smaller fish, meaning like 28 to 32 inches. Anything above really 34, I'm not really interested in taking home. But also, stripers that are 34 inches and up can contain a large mass quantity of eggs. And we need to reboost the population. Is it as bad as they say it is? I don't believe that. I believe that the striper population is doing very well. In the late 70s and 80s, they were damn near extinct because of overfishing, but they have made one hell of a comeback. Now, for me personally, I know the regulations are 28 inches to 38 inches at one fish. Anything smaller, anything bigger, you have to throw back. Of course, unless you have a bonus tag, which you can keep a fish from 24 to 27 if you have that tag by the New Jersey Fish and Wildlife Division. You can apply for it. Just go to their website. You can just follow the links and the rules and see what you got to do. Me personally, I think it's stupid to be able to only keep one fish, especially if you're a person paying to go on a charter or a headboat. Because if you're spending $80 or $150 to get on a charter or a headboat, and you can only keep one fish, that's pretty dumb. I don't believe the data is correct. What I think should be the right thing to do when it comes to striped bass is you should be able to keep two fish, one between 26 and 32, and the other from 32 to 40. I believe you should be able to release everything after 40 inches, because it can hold over 1 million eggs in that belly. Now, what I would like to see is in the month of May, striped bass being a catch and release fishery only. just for the simple fact that it's the month that they spawn eggs. And if we want our future generations and our kids and our grandkids to be able to have the same pleasure we do of catching these fish, you gotta let them grow. You gotta let them lay eggs. You gotta let them do their thing. Now, unfortunately, when you catch that 50, 60 pound striper and it's loaded with eggs, that fight can stress them out so bad that you might not be able to revive them. And unfortunately, you have to let them go, and 9 out of 10 times they're going to die. But these are the regulations as sportsmen and as fishermen that we have to follow. So that's just the rules that we got to dig with. Now, what I just spoke about was all ocean stuff that I use. Now, if I'm in the back bay, I'll go to a really smaller swim shad, something like this, or I might even use a Ron Z jig. You know, I've had some pretty good luck with these in the back bay, catching, nothing crazy big, but like 15 pound to 25 pound bass I've caught on these Ron Z jigs and these small tsunami swim shads. Now, I know there's a lot of you guys saying, this guy crazy, all he uses is artificials in the fall. No, there are times that I do use bait, mainly in the spring. But in the fall time, because of the abundance of dogfish and bluefish around, I try to limit the amount of catches off a striped bass that I can get. Don't get me wrong, catching a bluefish is fun, but when I mainly go fishing, it's because I want to put a meal on the table, or it's because I want to target something in specific. Now, if I'm using a bunker chunk when there's millions of dogfish around, 9 out of 10 times I'm going to catch a dogfish, which is something I don't want to catch. A lot of people say it's trash fish, it's a nuisance fish. Me personally, I hate that term. Because just because you don't want to catch it, or you don't want to eat it, or whatever it is that you think about when you catch that fish, doesn't mean that it's trash. And what pisses me off is when I see somebody catch a dogfish or catch a bluefish and they leave it on the beach to die. It's like you went into that animal's domain and you caught it. So therefore, just enjoy the pleasure of the fight, because it's not like bluefish don't fight like fun. Catching bluefish on light tackle is one of my favorite things to do. Dogfish, they still pull up a hell of a fight. Yeah, they're probably going to tangle the crap out of your rig and make a mess, but does it deserve to be left on the beach to die? Or like I see a lot of guys on head boats slamming the fish against the side of the boat. That's not cool, man. So just let it go. Now, if you want to you're not going to eliminate all the possibilities of catching those fish, but you can dim it down some by using something different. Now, will a bluefish definitely bite an Ava? Absolutely. Will a bluefish definitely bite a castaway jig or a shad? Absolutely. But try to avoid the areas where you think those fish are going to be. I mean, if you're serious about fishing like I am, of course you do homework. I'm not a big surf guy. I'm not really a fan of sitting on a beach and waiting for fish to pass by so I can get a chance to catch them. I like to get on a boat and go hunting. You know what I'm saying? That's my thing. That's what I like to do. Now, a lot of you surf guys say boat fish don't count and this, that, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. We all have a different opinion. That's fine. But me personally, I don't like to sit there and wait for 2 or 3 hours. Or, on the other hand, I'm not Indiana Jones. I'm not a small guy. I can't be climbing up and down jetties and some of the craziest places I've seen people fishing. So I'd rather just hop on a boat, go look for them, and find them. That's my thing. So, with that being said, I wish you all the best of luck on this striper run. Hopefully you guys are catching tog. Right now it's 1 fish per person. November 15th it opens up to 5 fish per person. And that's what I'm really waiting for, is that tog season. Yes, you've heard me say it last episode a lot, but that's my favorite thing to fish for. Another fun thing to fish for is sea bass. That will be opening up October 8th. Sea bass, you can use an Ava jig. What I like to use is something smaller for sea bass because it is a lot smaller of a mouth. So I use an Ava 007, or I'll use something like this. Kind of mimics a herring, and this is something that I use. Or an epoxy jig, which I don't have any epoxy jigs in this box, but that is something that I use a lot. These work fine. Again, the Ronzi jigs, but with current on a boat, this won't really get down there well too good. So, right now, we're going to hand it off to a Skype call with Captain Greg Fabrizzi down in Marathon, Florida, see what they're transitioning into. Hey, what's up, Greg? What's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well, Chris. How you?
Pretty good, man. We're getting ready for that fall striper run up here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you missed the stripers at all?
I remember those days, man.
Yeah, time to start throwing out some metal jigs and stuff.
Yep, good times. I love that topwater action.
Oh yeah, that top water action is fun, but you got to be real patient for that around here, at least.
Yeah, you got a lot of traffic and stuff. Keep it down for sure.
Absolutely. So, how's it going down there at Marathon? What are you guys transitioning to?
Yeah, I mean, we're starting to. We just got our first cold front. That came through. It was legit a cold front, but it was 94 during the day, and it felt like 2. So that's down to 110. So we're getting another blow this weekend. We're going to drop down to like 88. So our transition, with your versus your inshore type of transition, night and day, Chris. I mean, the amount of that move out versus, and then the amount of fish that move in is just epic. Like it's just a total different ball game. You're talking everything from African pompanos, the mutton snapper bite turns on really hard. Permit come in, Cero mackerel, Spanish mackerel, and that's endless hours of enjoyment for people because you can fish those max like mid column. Most folks that I deal with are lake fishermen.
Yeah,
they're used to casting, and obviously that ain't happening on my boat with all that. But when the max come in, I will allow a flip.
Yeah.
And if I hear it hit the gunnel once, then I do the casting and I hit it. As long as I catch fish and have fun. But yeah, our transition is happening now. One of my favorite fish that come in, of course, is the sails, but they'll be in, February, March, April. Generally, they'll show up. But the cobia bite, man, when they come in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, we fish them primarily Gulf side.
Okay.
Do some, on the Atlantic as well, but that's the striped bass key, the striped bass of the Keys.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, honestly, man, all summer long, some nice cobia have been being caught in Jersey.
I know it.
And I think the biggest one that I saw was 82 pounds. It was caught down in the Absecon area, and it was a big fish, man.
That's a down here. A big one here is maybe 40,
Yeah, and they let them go though. But it's something different for us up here because we don't see that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what it is and why they keep coming up now. But
I mean, I learned. Remember, I got down here. I used to do it. How you did it. You just came down. You jumped on. With me on a charter. You jump with Jay. So, it's a lot different now when people are paying you for those fish.
Exactly.
A lot of things I learned about cobia. I mean, they're born almost white, like, very lightish in color, but because they stay up at the surface and sun themselves.
You get a suntan.
That's where that dark color comes from.
Okay, that's cool.
And they're the opposite of sharks. So a cobia eats from the top down. Like where a great white, a mako, they eat from the bottom up.
Gotcha.
So when you pull up to some of these wrecks, literally you pull up, the cobs swim to the back of the boat. You have to have a live bait and you're on a heavy jig and drop it down below them, and you'll watch the fish take off down after the. So the thing is, I don't know if you've caught one, but it's almost like a largemouth bass
Okay.
or a medium-sized striper, where they'll come to the surface and shake their heads violently.
Yeah.
So the problem is we have to use like 25 to max 30-pound fluoro, for the fish, because the water clarity here is so good
Yeah,
that
it's freaking amazing over there.
when they finally get up to the surface and they go violent in that head shake, you literally have to go out every trip with at least a 10 to a 12-foot gaff, because you got to reach out and hit them, because otherwise it's virtually a guaranteed snap every time.
Yeah, I haven't caught a cobia, man, but it seems like something that I can see in the future putting on my bucket list. Now, my number one fish that is on my bucket list, you said it a little while ago, and the hairs on my neck stood up, man. That permit.
I know it.
I'm really trying to make it come down there in December. I'm really hoping to get down there, and that is the number one thing on my list to catch is a permit. Let's tell the people, what do they eat and how do you fish for them?
So in our area here, where I'm in the Marathon, we have the 7 Mile Bridge. That's what I cross under every morning.
Yeah.
There, in about 100 to 105 feet of water, there's what they call the 7 Mile Rubble Pile. It's on every chart. Everybody knows about it. It's no secret charter spot. But at that certain time of year, they come to that rubble pile in a school like you can't believe. The school is so great that they swim in a circle, but it could be a 500, 800-yard circle, okay?
Wow.
And in that circle, because there's so many and they are so fast, I'm talking 40-plus pound permit here, not flats permit, but you get them big on the flats too. But these are 40, 50-pound permit making a circle, so you'll see the water almost turn like a yellowish hue. And then you fish for them with baby blue claw crabs, if you can imagine.
Okay.
Which we catch down here. Obviously, I don't catch them, but I buy them. But they'll cost, man, for a charter. I don't charge bait, obviously, but those crabs down here are $4 to $6 each.
Wow, that's insane, man.
Oh yeah.
Well, they make it hard on you guys in every direction.
You're not kidding. Every morning for a trip, it's just bang out city. But that, and I explain it to the customers. I said, look, I know you guys are paying a lot of money, for a trip here, but I just want you to realize, we're on an island.
Yeah.
Nothing is domestic here. So, when it comes to a case of chum, which I'll go through 1 to 2 cases a day, I'm paying $40 for it. If I get in the car and drive 2 hours to Miami, it's $25 a case.
Yeah, I know that's true because I stopped at that little mini Bass Pro Shop in Island Mirada.
Yeah.
And I saw a case of chum was $39.99. So I know what you're paying for that, and that's that's a little crazy, you know what I'm saying? But unfortunately, that's what you got to use to catch those fish, man. Because I noticed every time you put out one of those chum buckets, it looked like an aquarium behind the boat.
Yeah, it's so key here. And right now, one of the big things that Marathon is known for, and we've I think touched on it before, is the reef.
Yeah.
And so in the summer, the mangroves spawn. That's what we call it. Now, once the water drops a few degrees, I mean, I've been out in the Gulf Stream. It's been 94 degrees in that Gulf this year. Which makes you nervous for the hurricanes. That's what they fuel off of.
Yeah.
So now we're down into like the high to mid 80s in terms of water temp. And that's when the transition on the reef begins. So we couldn't have scripted this better. Today, of all days, boat, right? I'm running out. I blow a fuel line off from a service that I just had done. I got gas all over the place on the motor. I'm in 3-foot seas like MacGyver. I got everything taken apart with pliers. I wound up reconnecting it, cleaning up the fuel, and we headed out. It was only a 4-hour reef trip. So now we're targeting yellowtail snapper. I can tell you what we use, technique and whatnot. It's very difficult for people to get used to. Very difficult.
Yeah, it was for me, man, because, I'm used to setting the hook. And every time I went to set the hook, you would tell me, don't do that. And I'm like, wait, what? That's totally
They
different.
here, the clarity is so great. When you start the chum, like we were talking about, I try to get people to visualize it. The chum is coming out at the speed of the current. So
Hmm.
it's my job to hook you up with a jig that is going to drift in that current at the same speed of the chum. So it may take me 20 minutes to figure that out once we're on
Yeah,
anchor. But if you're not mimicking that chum and the same speed of that chum, you will not get a bite.
yeah.
So,
I learned that the hard way.
yeah, and most do. And that's why, I'll instruct the folks and then I will fish for like a half hour and I'll show them this is how you flat line, your feeding line out of the bed.
Yeah,
One,
I remember. I remember when you were showing us everything. You handed a rod to Claudia, my wife, and she was just catching them left and right because she's not really a hook setter. So
right,
that was just it was a lot easier for her.
right.
Now, yes, she kicked my ass that trip. You know what I'm saying? She caught a lot more fish than I did, but I caught the biggest one.
Right.
But
But
that was fun.
she has a nicer setup too.
Yeah, I got that nice little pen passion. I'm a Shimano guy myself, but
Yeah, that's all I use really. I use Shimano back here. It's on the boat.
yeah. Nah, that's Shimano Stratic I got. I actually just got a new setup about a month and a half ago. The Jigging World Night Ranger rod,
Oh yeah,
and I put a C14 Stratic on it. That's what I'm going to use to jig for Tog. Try something different.
oh for sure.
Yeah,
And,
because I remember, I never had a fast action rod for jigging, and remember that trip we did on the Barb Gale,
yes.
the first trip we fished together.
Yep.
And what you call, I was trying to jig and I would keep missing because I
Right.
had a slow pitch rod, so it just wasn't working. So now I got the right setup, and hopefully we change it up this year. I should catch something.
Yeah, you're gonna see a noticeable difference for sure.
Oh, definitely, hell yeah.
So
But
anyway, to finish up on today's adventure, um, I'm a big proponent of the military, the police, and I was fortunate enough this week where I had ex-military, Army,
oh, that's cool.
Black Hawk and Apache helicopter mechanic.
Huh.
He only left the base twice. He did 2 tours in Iraq and Kuwait. The
Uh-huh.
second left the base in 13 years. He got hit with an IED.
Jesus Christ.
I was fortunate enough to meet him and his wife. We spent 2 full days together. It's probably one of the most uplifting, 2 days I spent in the last 20 years, other than with my family.
Yeah.
And so this morning, the husband and wife are on their honeymoon. They're in their 30s. They show up. A lot of tattoos. I start asking about the tattoos. Find out he's a he's a Utah police officer,
Okay.
which shot 5 times
Jeez.
during they were serving a warrant and a raid. He lost his best friend, and
Hmm.
4 other officers went down. So of
Wow.
course I have those thin blue line flags all over my boat.
Yeah.
He steps on the boat and makes a comment about those flags.
Yeah.
There, you know what I mean?
We got problems. Yeah.
Yeah. So once I saw that flag, he's like, man, I hit the jackpot. I picked the right guy.
Hmm.
So we had that little fuel line issue. I took care of it. We get out to the reef. About an hour into the trip, they learn what they're doing. They're catching fish. They're having a blast. So we all talk about karma. We all talk about things are meant to be.
Hmm.
Chris, I put a live shrimp out. I
I
put it
saw I
in.
saw it on your Instagram today.
I forgot that I opened the bail, so the 2 folks are fishing, and I left the bail open and walked away from it. The mate looks over, and the rod is at the backing. The whole reel is dumped, and something's pulling on it.
Yeah.
Story short, we got the lady on the pole. I had to have 300 to 400 yards, maybe more of braid out there with a top shot.
Oh man.
We wound up landing the largest yellowtail snapper in the that was caught in the entire Keys in the last 10 years.
That's awesome, man. I saw a picture of it on Instagram today, man. That's a little fat boy right there.
Boy, they got to be 12 inches at the fork so you can squeeze the tail.
Yeah.
That's what it got to be. It's 12 inches and it's 10 per person.
This one looked like he was close to 20.
26.
26, yeah. I mean, I got to teach you a little something about photography, but, you know what I'm saying? He was a big boy, definitely.
Sure. It's making a pay. It's going to be in the papers here and everything.
That's awesome, man. That's freaking great.
But fluke thing, you know?
Yeah.
No
hey.
pun intended.
Yeah. Well, fluke is over here, but you got to be out there to get them, right?
That's it. You can't catch them, you know, sitting down or talking about it. You got to get on. You just got to get out there because you know what's going to happen, and that's the beauty of this sport, you know, for sure.
So I got to ask you something because yesterday you sent me a snap from the pontoon boat. How are my pets doing?
Oh, they're doing great.
Yeah. Now, for the people watching who don't know, when I was in the Keys, I was so hell-bent on catching a tarpon.
Right.
And I was going to go out with Jay for tarpon, but in the morning when I got to his boat and I see all the tarpon there, I'm just like, you know what? Why am I going to waste a charter on tarpon when I can just come here later tonight and catch them from the dock? So we went out with Jay. We caught a bunch of different types of snappers, caught a Cero and everything.
Yeah, but you're talking about the dock that has 50 no fishing signs, right? That one?
Yeah, but I'm sorry, I'm a tourist.
Absolutely, right.
So what you call it? I hook up to that tarpon, man, and Claudia is just like, holy shit, it's jumping out the water, man. But let me tell you something. I've been fishing since I was 6 years old.
Right.
And I've never been so happier to have a fish go that crazy. It's like the mixture of a striper with the power.
Sure.
The fight of a bluefish.
Yeah.
The jumping agility of a mahi all in one fish, man. It's freaking awesome.
Insane. And, you hook, Chris, had to be what, 35, 40 pounder probably, maybe 50?
Yeah, he was about 36, 37 pounds. I didn't bring him up because that rail is way too high and I knew I was gonna snap the line. Yeah. So I tapped it, so you know that counts. I landed it.
Oh, for sure.
But I did on my last day I found the spot to where I could have fished for them without getting yelled at.
Oh yeah.
That little bridge cut that's over there by the what is it? The Marathon Queen or the Marathon Lady party boat?
It's Vodka Cut.
Yeah, there's a little cut over there because I became pretty cool friends with the mate on that boat because he's also a Jersey guy.
All right.
And he was just like, yeah, man, you know, you can't fish for him here at the dock, but if you come here later on tonight, you go underneath that little bridge over there. They hold right there. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm leaving in like 3 hours.
Right.
But, yeah, man, I mean, when I go back...
Think about in April and May when they come through, you know, the migration.
Yeah.
Right where I'm at, the 7 Mile Bridge.
Uh-huh.
Chase these worms. Worms spawn. So they wait at the 7 Mile till the worms spawn. It was just on Discovery Channel, the Shark Week, about a 12 to 14 foot hammerhead every year that comes with them.
That's crazy, man.
Anyway, cut to the chase. Those fish, the smallest you're going to hook into, you're using a mullet, you know, a live mullet.
Yeah.
That's what we use at the 7 Mile. If we go south to the, well, really west to the Bahia Honda Bridge, we use crabs. It's at a different bridge.
I got you.
You hook into one, I guarantee you it's at least 100 plus pounds.
Nice. That's awesome.
They've caught 150s, 180s, you know, right there, and it lasts for a whole month.
Yeah. I mean, you said something about Shark Week and made me remember. Last week I heard a story in Marathon, Florida that a guy got attacked by, what was it, a bull shark?
Yeah, I was fishing there, man. I drove by it. I saw, I was fortunate enough not to see anything, but I did see the, you know, the United States Coast Guard dropping a basket, and I don't think they picked the guy up via the basket, but yeah, man, we got, you know, Sombrero Reefs out here. It's a sanctuary, and there's a 50 mooring balls that have line already hanging off it. So you just up your boat, tie up with the line that's there. It'll run from 5 feet, and you're talking 9 miles offshore. It'll run from 5 feet out to about 60, the whole sanctuary.
Yeah.
Where all the mooring balls are. So, it was another, beautiful day and clear water, clear skies, and there were probably 30 boats on the balls. And this gentleman and his wife, they still are, they're from Georgia. And I believe it was like the mother-in-law, the wife, and maybe 2 or 3 children. From what I understand, the whole family was in the water already.
Wow.
The place that thousands of people a week go to snorkel. There hasn't been a shark attack there since anybody here can remember.
Yeah,
we have an idea of what caused it. But as soon as the gentleman jumped in the water, the dad, he was immediately bitten in the shoulder.
Wow.
And basically, he lost every piece of meat of his shoulder.
Okay, but he made it through, right? He's good?
From what I understand, he survived, yeah. But
okay.
I was kind of pre-warned prior to this by all my buddies down here that spearfish and they're scuba guys. The shark, they told me 2 days before that attack that the sharks are acting very aggressive and very weird.
Mm.
Now, if you remember, about a week and a half ago, about 3 weeks ago, we had a tropical storm come through here that turned into a hurricane when it left us. It dumped a record of 11 inches of rain in Marathon.
Yeah.
24-hour period. So what happens, Chris, down here, because of the temperature, after you get a significant amount of rain, there's an algae bloom.
Mm.
So the water in the Gulf, which is very shallow and doesn't hold the oxygen levels that the Atlantic side does, basically is choking those fish out to a point.
Yeah.
So all the tigers, and there's a lot of them, and all the bulls in the Gulf, they moved out into the ocean. So it's like me and you getting dropped off in some $20 million house neighborhood and being like, wait a minute, this is a real pool? Like, this is not like a lake? You know what I mean? Like, sharks got out there and they're like, yo, what's going on? We can see, we can hear, we can taste. So, they got guys shooting fish and they're coming up and being like, yo, let me get some of that.
Yeah.
Sharks don't do that down here. They get curious, but they won't come right up to you. And they were doing that.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, besides the fact that bull sharks are already like probably the worst shark out there because they enjoy to kill for pleasure, and, as opposed to just when they're hungry.
Oh yeah, every day I fish on anchor, Chris. I have at least 2 of them surrounding the boat.
Yeah. It's like a lot of people ask me, what do I think is the worst shark out there? And if I had to choose, not that I want to, but if I had to choose, what would I rather face head to head? A great white or a bull? Honestly, I would choose a great white because I know that if the great white bites me, it's gonna kill me in one shot. You know what I'm saying?
A jumbo, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not that big, right? No, I'm playing with you. But a bull, man, they'll just fuck with you for a while and enjoy killing you.
Yeah, I mean, down here in Florida, the blacktip is responsible for the most amount of bites.
Yeah.
Of shark attacks, but
I've heard those things are pretty aggressive.
But you're totally accurate, man. A bull shark, they are so aggressive when they want to be. They're probably the most aggressive that I've ever seen. I mean, I've had one 12-foot tiger shark bump into the boat. He bumped the boat. The boat moved. And he just looked at us like, what's up? And he's like, you're in my house. And he just kept going.
Yeah,
when the
pretty much.
sharks come around the boat, there ain't nothing moving them.
I remember the first tiger shark I caught. It was an accident. I caught it in the rip. We were striper fishing. Remember the rip before they destroyed it?
Yeah.
And it was a baby, but man, this son of a bitch had like 3 or 4 rows of just shredders. And I'm like, I do not want to get bit by that thing, man. That thing will destroy you. But like, it's kind of like throwing your arm in a cheese grater with that fish's teeth. Like that'll be insane getting bit by a tiger shark. But that is something that I do want to catch on the beach is a giant tiger.
Yeah.
And I was actually talking to a buddy of mine today, AJ. We're thinking about maybe doing some type of shark beach, trip. Trying to figure out where. Now, there's a guy that I learned about him. I don't know him. He was on a show called Hook Shots, and his name is Zach the Hammer Miller. He's in Pensacola, Florida.
Yeah, he's heard of him as well.
He's known for catching, giant sharks on the beach. I'm gonna try and see if there's a way where I can get in contact with him somehow, some way, and maybe set something up to go down there when I'm down there in December. That would be pretty cool.
That would be cool for sure. Yeah, you always got some up your sleeve, man. And
I'll try, man. I'm a pretty decent fisherman. I won't say that I'm great because there are many people way better than me. But
always somebody better.
It's nice to learn, from people who have experiences that you don't. Because, for example, like even when you were up here, you would charter with Jerry.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's just that black fishing is Jerry's thing. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
And like for instance, when I go out fishing with certain guys, if I know what I'm doing and I see what you're doing is making you look really, really stupid at the moment, I'm gonna tell you, don't do that. Do this, and that. Now, a lot of guys, especially older guys, they can't stand when a younger guy tries to tell them something, but it's because it's not working for you.
Right.
Like if I go fishing, I always listen to everybody because one day my technique might not be working. You know what I'm saying? And somebody else's will.
Yeah.
For example, fluke fishing. I hate fishing with a spearing and a switch strip. Give me a bucktail, man. I want to sit there. I want to jig that fucker. I want to catch, Flukezilla or something.
Sure.
But there's days where that shit is just not going to work.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Early season in the bay, bucktailing is not working.
No.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is right. And you're right. You got to, when it comes to like going black fishing, I fished my whole life. I pay Jerry whatever he asks me to. Because I can't compete with that. On my own, there's no shot. That's the best there is at that game in that area, Yeah. And when folks come down here, I'm fishing 350 charters a year. 90% of them have absolutely no idea what they're doing.
Yeah.
It is, Chris, when you talk about a little bit of a pressure is some of these folks only book 3 or 4 hour trips are most of our trips.
Yeah, I know, man. That's a lot of pressure on the captain to find fish.
Not only do I got to get you on the fish, I got to teach you how to catch the fish.
Yep.
I gotta hit my mark on the anchor. Every time. It's people think it's
It's pressure. I get that.
Yeah, and I'm down with it. I'm cool with it. The one thing that I say, I told the customer this 2 days ago, and her mouth hit the floor, and then she heard me on the phone, validated. But I said, down in the Keys, the one word we never use is work.
Yeah.
And I'm sure Jerry may be the same, and but when two captains, I just hung up the phone with another captain before I just you and I got on the phone. The question is, are you fishing tomorrow? You got a pontoon trip tomorrow? What do you got tomorrow?
Yeah.
Never have I heard, are you working tomorrow?
I wish I was in that predicament. I can tell you that.
And I was for many years, man. I'm a lot older than you, so I'm not saying I put all my time in, but I put a lot of time in to get down here. And like I said, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Today, look what happened with the fuel line. I still, I fixed it. I get out to the spot. I catch the biggest yellowtail caught in the Keys in 10 years.
Nice.
Today, in 2 years, this business hit today the 100th 5-star review.
That's awesome.
Google. So we now got a phone call, we, meaning me, that we are the highest and most ranked charter outfit in Marathon, Florida.
And I believe it just from experience.
Yeah. I mean, I'm blessed by that. That's
I mean, like, honestly, we miss you up here, especially this time around, because you used to put a hurting on the stripers up here.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah, like, the fall run is getting real close. A lot of residents fish are being caught. Like, this time of year, what is your favorite thing to use for stripers?
In the fall?
Yeah.
Well, like I said earlier, I mean, I'm always looking for that popper bite, but I know it's not there a lot.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I used to, not in the beginning, but I'm talking way back when umbrella rigs worked. But, if I had to troll them, I would troll them. I mean, I think I bought the first or one of the first wireline setups out of the tackle box in Hazlitt when they first came out with wireline. And, last I fished up there when I had to, and, I had a drag wire. I think it was Monell I would drag. But, listen, even a live bait, I'm all about the live bait.
Oh, hell yeah. It's nothing better than me.
Live lining. But nobody can dispute a Mojo.
Yeah.
And where that thing came from, I think it was from down south. It started like in the South Carolina area, North Carolina, somewhere there. But I watched those fish go from eating umbrella rigs like it was their job, where you could drag 70 umbrella rigs in front of a striper and they won't look at it. But you drag a Mojo that you just pulled out of your neighbor's garbage because it was eaten to death and it was in rust. Everybody's got a white Mojo with rust marks on it, right?
Yeah.
You dragged 570 umbrella rigs in front of a school of bass. They're just looking at it. You pull that rusty Mojo out with a rusty dull hook, and you got a fish on. It blew my mind up there, man.
It is crazy, man. I mean, I hate trolling.
Oh,
every real fisherman hates trolling, but I mean, there's nothing we can use like an Ava 47, a bucktail that's gonna catch those giant fish, like a Mojo or a spoon, for instance. Yep. Like Mojos catch a lot of fish, but I've noticed that the spoons, the bigger fish enjoy them. I'm talking like those 55-pound bass.
Biggest bass I caught in Jersey was 52.5 on a charter.
I got you beat.
Yeah, I know it.
I got you beat.
I was trolling a Tony Maja spoon on 300 feet of wire, right on the 3 mile line. I believe I was off Long Branch, and I must have worked the line 30 times, and hooked that 52.5. And let me tell you, we did everything in our power to get that fish revived.
Yeah.
That's another problem with wire.
Yeah.
So long, you know what I mean? And you got to keep the boat in gear because you can't have any slack in the line. That fish just, you hook one like that, the odds of reviving it are pretty slim.
Yeah, so I was pretty upset about mine too. Do you know that little abandoned Coast Guard house right at the entrance, like before the entrance to Sandy Hook?
Yeah, for sure.
Underneath the bridge, right? So yeah. I used to come into Sandy Hook, shut the lights off, and sneak in there, park the truck on there, and we always use a 4-rod setup, and my thing all year long for stripers is eels.
Okay,
so I hook up an eel. This is a big old fucker. He's probably about 22-inch eel.
Yep.
No weight. Cast it out to the bridge, and I keep the bell open. Just let him run.
Yeah.
So we're there for about 3.5, maybe 4 hours. Greg, not a single bite. I said, the hell with this shit. Let's start packing up. You know what I'm saying? So we're reeling up everything, and we still have one rod out as it's just, whatever. Let's see what happens. So everything's going to the truck. I'm walking to the rod to pick it up to reel it in. And all you hear on this Pen Battle 2 is zzz. I'm like, what the fuck? And this is like a 300-yard run.
Right.
I'm like, yo, I caught a cow nose ray.
Right.
That's what I'm thinking it is, you know what I'm saying? And my boy Mike is just like, yo, reel it in. I'm like, I'm not reeling against the drag, so let's just wait till he tires out. So about 330, 340 yards, he finally stops. Massive run. I would never think that was a striper.
Wow.
So I bring it in. I'm coming. I got maybe 90 to 80 yards left. Takes a second run. Now I'm like, not a chance in hell this is a striper because he should be tired by now.
Right.
So, but it was maybe about 40, 45-yard run, the second one. I bring it in, and I see this giant silver glow in the water from the lights on the Highlands Bridge. And I'm like, get the net. He's like, it's in the truck. I'm like, fuck. I went for a swim.
No.
I stuck my hand in its gill plate and dragged it to the fucking beach.
Come on.
It was a fully pregnant female. And what you call it? We didn't have any scales with us or anything. So I measured it, and she was 62 and a half inches. And I'm like, yo, we gotta let this one go because she's packed with eggs. You know what I'm saying? So we're trying to revive it. We're moving her around. We got her in the water. She's not moving. I'm like, oh man, she's not gonna make it. So after about 20, 30 minutes of trying to revive her, it just didn't happen. So I'm not gonna waste the fish.
Yeah, of course.
So what you call it? We put it in the cooler. We take it to tackle box, and we're sitting in the parking lot. It's 3:00 in the morning. And my boy's like, yo, they're not open yet. I'm like, I know. We got to wait an hour and a half. Take a nap. So Phil gets there. He's just like, really? You going out now? I'm like, going out. I'm coming in. He's like, get out of here. I'm like, yo, get the scale out, bro. So we weigh it 57.6 pounds.
What?
57.6, dude. That's my biggest striper ever.
Yeah, so you're talking shit like you got me beat. You got half the fucking country beat.
Hey, bro, that was a day that I'll never ever forget. Pass that spoon. Yeah, and what you call it? So you caught yours on something like this, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Now these do catch some really really big fish, but to say that I got mine the 1985 way of fishing with just a freaking 10-0 hook with an eel on it. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
That makes my balls drop a little bit. It makes me feel good.
No doubt.
Oh man, that's great.
I never knew that. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a story I'll never forget. Now, back then we didn't have smartphones, but I got a Polaroid of it somewhere in the house. But when I find that, I got to take a picture of a picture and post it up. But that's definitely a fish of a lifetime for me.
Yeah, for anybody, I think. That's
great. What's the biggest fish you caught down there in the Keys?
I mean, obviously, it's going to be a shark, And I've caught multiple dozens of sharks, either by accident or on purpose. 350-pound bulls, some 200-pound nurses. 150 was the biggest black tip I got, but the biggest fish I caught here so far is a Goliath grouper.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
but they're a protected species, right? You can't keep them.
You can't even take them out of the water.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
And
there's a guy in Florida named Monster Mike. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a big freshwater guy, but he does some saltwater shit too. And he was on a trip, and they were handlining a grouper. So he brings the fish up to the boat, and this shit made the news and everything down there. And they're like, "Yo, take a picture with the fish for the thumbnail of YouTube because they're big YouTube sensations, right?" And he gets in the water, and this poor guy can't swim, so he's already petrified. So as soon as he hugs the fish to take a picture, the fish freaks out. And he's screaming for dear Lord. You know what I'm saying? I felt so bad for him, but I was still laughing my ass off so bad because, you got this little guy and he's and this giant fish that's like twice his size is ridiculous.
That's a big thing down here. When people do catch them, especially when you get the 200, 300 pounders.
Yeah.
And they come up both sides because you can't take them out of the water. First of all, if you're taking it, how are you taking a 300-pound fish out of the water?
Yeah, exactly. You need a freaking boom for that.
Happening. So that it's a big thing where the people will jump in, and because you can't bring the fish in the boat to take a picture with them, so you got to get in the water and take the picture with them. So all these 200-300-pound grouper, they all jump in and take, not they all, but most jump in and take pictures with them.
I would.
I hooked one in 150 feet, and it was on a small wreck. I was live lining it. I knew, we know he's there. And I was live lining a blue runner. We hooked into this fish on a accurate 1000.
Oh, wow.
Accurate's big reel. It's a 2-speed.
Yeah. The drag system on that reel is freaking awesome.
It is. It's good.
It's probably the one reel that can compete with the International Pen.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I'm not really that much of a pen guy, but we got to give credit where it's due. The International Pens are just one of a kind.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
And so I got that rear steering station on the Steiger.
Yeah.
So that comes in clutch on all these big bottom fish here, because I can be back there with the angler. Because most of these fish, you got to chase them.
Oh yeah.
Catch off the bottom.
Because I can imagine hooking up to like an 80-pound jack or something like that.
Yeah, the AJs, the hammerjacks, they're all over. Like, a lot of people down here avoid that stuff, but I take my people right to it. That's what they're here for.
Hell yeah, they want that fight. I want it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they taste like shit because I've tried it, but I mean, if you are a person that fishes because you're passionate about it, you're always going to respect and enjoy that fight.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like us up here with the bluefish. We know they taste like shit, but they're fun as hell to catch.
Right. Oh yeah, when I bought my first boat, that's it. I was a blue fisherman.
Yeah.
That's all I fish for, because I love to fight. So, cut to the bottom line on the Goliath, the biggest one down here, is it took us 2.5 hours to get that fish up. I just had to run the risk. I'm using a 100-pound mono, and I had to run the risk of just locking that 1000 up, full drag, and I got the station next to the customer, and the boat, the Steiger, had to drag the Goliath off the wreck. Once I got it about 80 to 90 feet away from the wreck, then the fish started cooperating. But when it was in its house, no shot. So that's the biggest I caught besides sharks, Wow,
that's for people who don't live there, some of the fish that you catch on a regular basis are fish that people dream of catching. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, they're Caribbean fish. They're like Caribbean style fish. An African pompano. The first time I caught one of those, first of all, I never saw anything bite a live bait off the bottom and take off. Not even maybe a mako, but I've never seen anything take off like an African pompano.
Yeah.
Hooked it. I start chasing it, and when that fish got into the boat, that to me, maybe not to a lot of guys down here, that's one of my favorite fish to look at, to eat, and to fight. And
it's a very beautiful fish to color on it.
But it looks like a permit.
Yeah.
With bigger, fluffier lips, and it's got some real nice, fins that come off of it. But pound for pound, I don't think I've run into anything that fights harder here.
Yeah. I mean, if I do get my chance to catch that permit, I mean, you know how I am with fish, man. The first time I ever catch one of any species, I give it a kiss and let it go.
Yep.
But have you ever eaten one?
No. It's kind
No.
of fun down here.
Really?
Oh yeah. There's it's a plentiful fish, but there's a few fish down here that the fish could be in season. There's a bag limit, there's a size limit, and it's frowned upon if you kill the fish.
Okay.
A permit, obviously a tarpon, as a you can get as a resident of Florida, you can get a permit of for one to keep one a year.
Okay.
Obviously, nobody is down with that.
I wouldn't kill a tarpon.
Right, and then same thing with black tip sharks.
Hmm.
They're plentiful as you can imagine. You bring one of those back at the dock.
When people hate you, I mean, I see with what's his name, Mark the Shark, I think his name is.
Yeah, for sure.
I see the comments of people, what they say to him. It's just like, number one, he does it in the name of science, so it's just like I get why he does it, and I respect why he does it, but just people are so ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
Like
most are behind a keyboard.
Yeah, pretty much. You know what I'm saying? Because they never have the balls to say it in your face.
Right. Right.
But yeah, I mean, the couple of fish that I wouldn't kill would be a permit or a tarpon. Now, I know that these fish are in the Caribbean. I'm not sure if they're in the Keys. Have you ever seen or caught a bonefish?
Oh yeah, they're all over the Keys.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That's like another one of those fish that people throw up on a mantle. I don't know why. I don't really know much about them. But it seems like
I don't know much about them, and I never want to know anything about them. I can't fish the flats. It's not my gig, man. It's just those flats guides are one of a kind. Believe me, they're amazing. Because
the boats are a lot smaller too.
Well, it's hot. You're standing up on
a surfboard, basically.
Yeah, with a push pole. Spotting the fish for the customer, 1 o'clock, and they'll cast at the fish. And you're in 5 inches of water sometimes,
Fuck that.
That's protection, man. The sun here is a lot closer to the
equator
we are than the further north you go, the further the sun goes away. So, our UV index is off the charts.
I know. I lost 6 pounds in the 7 days that I was down there.
Right. There's a lot of stuff you got to do down here. Like with my line, as much as I run, yesterday I was on the water 12 hours. Today I was on the water 4 hours. But that's 15 hours in 2 days in 100+ degrees. So there's a lot of things you got to do consistently. Otherwise, you ain't gonna last. And I'm not 25 years old.
Yeah, it takes a toll on you.
It does, and your body.
I never believed you guys when you said wait till you hit 30, and yeah, man, I'm getting out of bed every morning, and all I'm hearing is crack, 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 and it sucks.
And then wait till you hit 40 and 45.
Shit!
Now it's changing for you. It's changing for us. I mean, obviously you're gonna get those falsies that come in there, right? You're gonna get
those are fun. I never understood why you guys down there call them bonita.
Well, no, we got bonita and then false albacore. We call them different. They're different fish. Like the bonita.
Oh, okay. Because when I went out with Jay, and I brought the first fish,
they call the false albacore here, they call them bonita.
Yeah, because when I went out, my first charter down there was with Jay. You were chartered with somebody else. And the first fish I hooked up to, and I'm cranking, I'm like, yo, I know this fight. And he's like, oh, you got a bonita. And I'm like, at least I know I'm eating good tonight because up here, bonita tastes like chicken.
Yeah.
So I bring it up as a false albacore. I'm like, well, it's a falsie. He's like, yeah, bonita. I'm like, bro, you're from Jersey. You know damn well this is not a bonita.
Right.
But yeah, we actually ended up using it as bait, and that's what I caught my Zero on.
Yeah.
Was that zero? The zero tasted pretty good, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, they're great.
Yeah, I liked it. I took it to Lazy Days.
Yeah, yeah.
It's fucking awesome.
Right now, it is stacked with zero out there.
Nice. They give a nice fight too on the light tackle. I was using a Jigger World rod out there.
Yep.
And it was fun as hell.
Oh yeah, they're fun. They got a lot of teeth too, man. They cut you off.
Yeah, I know. I went to pull the hook out and Jay smacked my hand. He's like, "Don't do that." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "You'll lose a finger."
Yeah, yeah. I had one a few weeks ago. Customer hooks it up. We got you want to use wire with them because of those teeth, you know?
Yeah.
So like number 4 wire and a haywire twist.
Okay.
Right to a jig head, and then we just marry it up right into the line, you know, like almost like a uni. But anyway, guy's hooked up to a zero, gets it right next to the boat. I don't know if it's a gaffer, I don't know if it's a netter. So as he gets it to the side of the boat, another zero comes dodging in and sees where the metal, you know, the wire is meeting the mono and hits it and snaps us off.
Wow, that's a smart little son of a bitch right there.
Yeah, he must have been hitting that for sure.
Yeah, he's like, "Let me get my girl out of here."
Yeah, I don't care. You got a lip piercing now, baby. You still my.
Oh man, that's awesome, man. Once again, thank you for coming on and giving everybody some entertainment and some knowledge.
No, sure. You know, I love it. I love it.
But yeah, everybody, check out Captain Greg Fabrizzi at ManicSportFishing.com. Book a charter with him, maybe book a snorkeling trip or a party on the pontoon. He'll put you on some fish and you'll have a good old time.
Yeah, follow us on Instagram, and you know, we'll definitely hook you up if you mention you for sure, Chris. You got it, brother.
All right, Greg. Thanks once again for coming on, man. Have a good night.
Your wife, and I'll talk to you soon, man. I'll see you soon.
Well, once again, man, thank you, Captain Greg, for all your knowledge and all the insight and what's going on in Florida and what's to come. So, I hope you guys liked today's episode. I hope you all give us a big thumbs up, a subscribe, and please leave a comment. Let me know your feedback. What do you like? What don't you like? What would you like to maybe see? So let me know. I appreciate you all watching, and I appreciate all your support. Thanks once again. Fishin'MagicianTV.com. This is Chris. I'm out. Tight lines.